in for another dope episode of Sipping on No Common Sense. This is your creator and host, Tiff. I hope everybody's having a great week. I'm having a great week. Very long week.
Yes,
you know,
it's a long week. It's a long week
for everybody. It seemed like the new month, October. So time to take my mask out.
It is definitely. It is definitely autumn. You can feel the shift in the weather. There's a lot of change, a lot of transformation. It's an exciting time of year.
I know you're excited.
I am.
Scary movies. This is your favorite time of the year, isn't it?
I want you all to know that I am not afraid to admit that as I get older, so this is a reference, Tiffany is referring to a struggle that I've had as of recent years in connecting with the part of myself that loves scary movies. It is a struggle currently.
Yeah, I see.
I acknowledge that. I don't mind that.
Right. You like torture yourself.
I do torture myself in that way, yes.
So how you doing, Corliss?
I am doing well. It is wonderful to be back. Thank you for inviting me back.
Oh, yeah, of course. Everybody that don't know, this is my cousin, my oldest cousin on my dad's side. So, I had to bring her back, So it's mental awareness month, I believe, or last month. So I wanted to bring somebody that, is more educated about mental health because, the holidays are coming and
absolutely,
how people are not coping with mental health. So I thought you'd be the perfect person to sit down.
This is one of my favorite topics. So
yeah.
I'm so glad to be back. Yay.
So tell people, introduce yourself for people that may not know you.
So I'm Corliss Ivy. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. I have my feet in two different worlds right now. I have worked in oncology care for about 14 years and excited to
that long?
14 years.
Dang, I feel like you just graduated college.
I did. 14 years plus years.
Why? I was like, dang, time flies.
14 years in oncology care, and I'm doing amazing work and excited to share that I am finally moving into my new private practice, Core Mental Wellness.
Okay.
So this is exciting. And certainly all the fun and the joy and the challenge of being in both of those worlds and also supporting a family. So with my husband, obviously it's not just me.
Right. Shout out to the boo, Spence, my big cousin, Spencer. Shout out to you. Why you do all that? You were so goofy. So can you explain, you're a therapist?
Yes.
So can you explain the difference between a therapist and maybe like a counselor? Not a counselor, but
there's so many different names for the healers that we experience in mental health. So, and a lot of that depends on your training and licensure. My background is in psychology and mental health counseling. A lot of other people may have gone to social work school. And then of course you have the modality that focuses on medication management, a psychiatrist who have gone to medical school to support mental health in that aspect. We have care managers, case managers, a lot of people with a bachelor level degree that are doing this work in a different kind of way. So it really depends on the venue, certainly, and then the function of the work. Okay. So we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
Right.
So whether it's hospitals, schools, non-for-profits, where we are right now, there are a lot of people that are doing the work on their own or in collaboration with one another. So the work that I do specifically as a psychodynamic psychotherapist is I support people in understanding more about who they are and especially all the complex pieces that goes into the choices they've made, the decisions they've made, and the life that they have built for themselves. And very interesting enough, I was thinking about this on the way here. Certainly there's work that I love doing, and I found that work has come to me. So there are three areas, three buckets, if you will, of work that I'm especially passionate about, and that people have somehow found their way to me to work in that realm. The first is mind-body medicine, psychoneuroimmunology. It's gone through different names over time, integrative health. But the idea is that how we feel physically has such an impact on how we feel emotionally. I'm going to hear you.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Right, the audience in the back. Audience.
I'm talking to you, Tiff.
Goofball.
Mind, body, medicine. How we feel physically and its impact on how we feel emotionally, and especially as it relates to stress. And there's a part of me, I get excited about it every time because I love where we're going when we talk about stress. It's, long gone are the days where we believe that stress is just something I feel in my head or something I'm thinking. It truly impacts us on a physical level. It's a biochemical response in the body. And that's why so many of us, when we're overwhelmed, when our mind is full, when things are happening, we find that our body gives us cues. So whether it's, the shoulders kind of hunching up around our ears, or some of us have a lot of tension in this part of the body. Many of us carry this position so often that we're taking it to bed with us, and then we're waking up in pain and uncomfortable, and we're kind of imitating Quasimodo throughout the day. It's very interesting even from a digestive standpoint. So many people can relate to the idea of knowing that when their mind is full, their stomach may irritate them more. The food that may normally comfort them may feel disruptive. And then vice versa, when our body is going through something, if we are having pain, if we've gone through a procedure, if we're just physically exhausted, our mind has a way of letting us know whether it's we are maybe a bit more forgetful than we're used to, or we know we're intelligent but we're repeating ourselves. And then of course all the feelings that may go along with that, frustration, fear. So that's one bucket. So understanding how the mind and the body work together, and we can talk about certain modalities that go with that. The second one is grief and loss. I would say over the past couple of decades, there's something powerful that happens when we're able to be real and honest with ourselves about how we process grief. And grief and loss is not just like a physical death, and that's certainly huge and very powerful and impactful for us, losing a loved one. It could also be loss of health, getting cancer, diabetes, HIV, the things that we have to contend with has an impact on our well-being. Loss of a job, loss of a relationship. Every now and again, it's so interesting when I work with people really of any age. I was just thinking through if there's a rhyme or reason to it, but really of any age, when there's a loss of an engagement, part of what the struggle is a loss of the memories that we won't have. There's a loss of a lifestyle. The children that we won't have together because we're no longer together. Those are things that are incredibly powerful. I work very closely with a death doula, and what that means is similar in retrospect to a birth doula. So many people, when they are preparing to deliver babies, there's someone there to kind of guide them through, certainly to help with the birthing process, but also emotionally the stress of birthing. There is a growing body of, actually returning body of providers that help with people who are transitioning from this life. So guiding the family, helping the body to relax. Those are things that fascinate me. I love it. I think it's amazing. And death is one of those things that we struggle with, I think, culturally. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to think about. There's a lot of confusion around it. What is, where are we going? How does it feel? And just the idea that we can plan what that process, to a certain extent, what that process would be, I think is truly, truly amazing. I would hope to have that for myself. When the time comes. And since we're related, I'll go as far as to say,
here we go.
Make sure there's some nice gentle music in the background.
Sade.
Plenty of Sade. Sade on repeat. Sade on repeat.
You don't need no repeat.
My Jane.
You don't need Sade on repeat.
Until I fade away. And then, some nice, my black and white movies in the background. Jane Eyre on repeat. Nice, have some aromatherapy going. It's so interesting, but when we think about, and I'm serious, by the way.
She is serious.
I'm very serious. Tip will tell you. I'm very serious.
Oh, so
There's an animal assisted therapy dog. I would welcome them as well. You know, I just outlined like my death plan. If the Lord would will that's the way I would pass.
Right.
And I think there's something freeing and empowering about having those kind of thoughts. Who do we want around us?
Yeah.
In that time, who do we want as far away as possible?
Yeah.
Those are all details that thanatology, the study of death and dying, will look at. So
yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, I guess.
And third bucket.
What's the third
bucket? This is the 3 buckets.
I thought that was. Don't touch me through it, Tiffany. No, I took a bucket. But that's what got me. I ain't heard that else but the thing.
So the mind-body connection, grief and loss, and the third one especially is relationships, interpersonal relationships. How my anthropology hat, it gets excited and wants to spin around because I'm especially curious and fascinated with how we think about relationships, how we build relationships, what we look for in a partner, what we want in a partner versus what we tend to find ourselves attracted to.
Right.
Yes, all of that.
All negative.
And
all of it.
It all comes back to that initial core.
Right. I was like, there's something wrong with me. Nobody getting attracted the same old mess that I ain't gonna go into it. This is not about me. Yes. This is not about me right now. But go ahead.
It goes back to that core. I mean, it is the core. I'm telling you, we're gonna stay here.
Yeah,
so this is where we're gonna stay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Some reference here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about. But it goes back to the core of knowing our mind and piecing together the pieces, some that we're not even conscious of, that impact those decisions. And it's amazing. So when I used to work in domestic violence, we would talk about this regularly, especially in groups, that there could be a room of 100 people and somehow we'll find that one person that we can build that dynamic with. So when you said it, is it me? I'm finding the same kind of person. The answer is yes. Yes, we are.
Maybe I broke my rises. I don't know. Because it don't matter. It don't matter. I attract the same person. No matter what they do, they can have a great life, but they still. I was like, dang.
No matter what color, what size, what kind of money they make, ultimately, you're gonna get back to a dynamic that feels familiar, and that is completely the work that I love. I know I love it all, but I do love it all. It's amazing. It's amazing.
But the death one got me.
What got you, Tim? What got you about it, Tim?
Listen, that's scary. I don't know. Maybe I don't feel like everybody else. I know we gonna pass, but I'm like, I'm not ready for that yet. Yes. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I was like, I don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm gonna pass. I always talk about it with my nieces and nephews. You know, I want this done. You know, because I probably won't have any kids, but I don't know. I just don't want to talk that into existence.
Yes,
like what I want. You know, just do me right. Yep. You know, have me standing up, like the.
Wait. I wasn't ready. I was actually my mind. Can you say it again?
Right, sitting up in the chair. Like with Netflix. I want one of those.
You want Netflix?
Lil Ryan told me no, he's not doing it. I was like, why not? We'll talk about it later. It's still in the talk.
She said standing up, sitting up, something with Netflix. So there is no room to talk about Sade.
No.
At least I'm laying calmly and you know. Not the position. That's just too much. I'm sorry. It's.
I'm joking.
Unless you like it. If you like it, there's no judgment. I'm a judgment because we're family. I'd be at the service, you know, if that's the Lord's will. I'm not sure what His will is, but that, you know. So
you probably be.
But I agree. I think a lot of people,
You probably be cracking up, be like, "What is going on?"
I would have. So this is like my classic, my meme, my gift face.
That's what I want. Better do it. Okay.
I think you're so right. A lot of people believe that if we talk about it, somehow we'll bring it about sooner. Like we're opening energy toward death.
Yeah.
And And I understand that, especially as we talk about energy and what we speak and the power of words. And I would hope that over time that would begin to give way to the idea of being empowered, that there's nothing that we can be, there's nothing at all that we can't talk about or know about. And we take the power away from that kind of that kind of fear. Yeah, I get it. It's not easy.
So why did you choose this route? What made you want to get into this profession? You always like hustle for your little cousins and stuff.
So sweet.
But you're always like peace when you come around me. You know what I'm saying? Peace, fun, and stuff like that. Like you feel good when we're in your presence and when we leave your presence. We feel different within ourselves. That's how I feel.
That is incredibly generous.
What made you choose this route?
I believe.
I thought you were gonna be a doctor or something because you're really smart.
Generous. Thank you.
You're really smart.
Go ahead.
Right. I thought you were gonna be a surgeon or something.
Pour it into me. Pour it in. I know for sure that any gift I have, any part of myself is given to me by the Lord. I knew at 16 that I wanted to study psychology. I wasn't quite sure how the pieces would come together. I knew for sure, like, this is the area of study, that this is me, this felt right. I also knew theater was me and felt right. And like, how do you move these two pieces together? I wasn't quite sure what form it would take. I think I'm still trying to figure out what form it'll take. But I know for sure this is definitely the calling. So I do love to help people. I love to see lives change. I love to see people heal. And then there's something powerful that happens when we move in our calling with one another. So just talking earlier with a vet about this space and this organization, there's something that happens when we're together for a poetry set, for a laughter session, when we're doing yoga, Zumba, when we're walking together. There's something about power in that synergetic experience with one another that is addicting. I love it. That's super fun. That's super fun. And it feels amazing. I think there's just a lot to offer. So I think this is my impact on the community. This is my impact on the world. And I'm so grateful in my mid-30s that there's courage. Which is the meaning behind the core mental wellness core meaning is the French word for heart. And again, the closest root to how we get our word courage. There's courage in being able to be open to the world and seeing how all these pieces come together. I remember in my early 20s, there was a pressure to the pieces have to fit. Things have to happen this way and that way, and I have to have this. There are these timelines and these restrictions. And I love now in my 30s where things feel a little different, a little messier, and much clearer at the same time. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. Cool. Go ahead. So one thing I was going to say, sorry,
go ahead.
I know they can wait. We were talking about the relationship piece is so incredibly powerful. I have to share it. I brought it with me.
Go ahead.
There's a couple things I just have to share on the show, so like some of the tools that I think have really made an impact, and where I may be teaching from, if that's a part of my calling with this practice. And I think I already know what that is. The first one is Taking Out Your Emotional Trash by Georgia Schaefer. She is a Christian psychologist, and what I love about this is it blends the worlds of grief. When I was talking a little bit earlier, what about our experience, our past, what patterns of thought are getting in our way that do not serve us, that are not helpful to us? What do we do with it? And what I love about this book, it relates a lot to agriculture, and I will tell you that's a big part of where I am right now. Yes, I have to do it. So we purchased a house a couple years ago, and in my mind, I'm an amazing gardener and landscaper. We have yet to see the fruit of my labor, but in my mind, that's what I'm working toward. So I really relate to this idea of, she references discarding some of the things that we no longer need, recycling, composting. It's amazing to me, and it impacts on such a personal level that the things that are bothersome for us and difficult for us, we could certainly get rid of them, but there could be purpose in them.
I bake. I don't do outside.
You bake, yes.
Let's start doing that.
So you take pieces,
right?
You see,
yeah,
you put them together,
right?
And there's something a product that comes from.
Yeah, that's what I do.
What have you baked recently?
Cheesecake, I think.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I do dabble.
Ain't said nothing to us.
Y'all ain't around.
Ain't offered no cheesecake.
Oh, I'll bring you one. Yeah, I'll bring you one for Halloween. I'll bring y'all one for Halloween. That's your favorite holiday anyway. You watch watch scary movies. Baby Blackula. That's one of your favorites.
I love Blackula. I love Blackula.
Oh God,
it is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Let's talk about movies for a minute. What is let's do it. Let's do it.
Right.
What would you say? What are your top 5 scary movies? Right, top three.
Yeah, you got me in both. That's a good question. I know I like Michael Myers, so it's the very first one, Halloween. I don't say Chucky. I don't understand that. How you scare of a baby? I'm trying to think. 80s, Scream, first Scream. That's me and Gregory's classic right there. And the Texas, what's the
Texas
Chainsaw
Massacre?
Yeah, I thought the very first one when they remade it when we were in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I know that one's been
remade.
I don't even know the first one. Yeah.
Jason, the very first, second one.
Okay.
Second one. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So mine would be same Halloween. Yeah. That is a classic. It's not Halloween until I see Halloween.
Yeah.
Insidious.
Oh yeah.
I love Insidious.
And Conjuring is good too.
Conjuring is amazing.
Yeah.
Are those my top 3? I think those might be my top 3 then.
Oh, okay.
Insidious surprised me. As I said earlier in this program, the older I get, it seems like the scarier.
Right, because you're being ridiculous.
I've become. And I'm one of those, I don't need the blood and gore. That does nothing for me at all. But jumping, when something happens, that gets me. So I'm that person in the theater with like my ears covered and I'm squinting.
Yeah, I got that on video.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a classic movie. I've been doing it since I was about 16. Just kind of sitting here like this, and I'm jumping and hollering. I'm embarrassing my husband.
Yeah.
Why do we pay money? When covering your ears everywhere. But it gets in your head.
Yeah. Is that good? You think that's good for people to feed their minds with movies like that?
That's a good question.
Is it healthy for you? You think mentally to feed their minds?
Here's how I'm gonna approach that.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna relate it back to functioning. So for someone who has high level of functioning, where scary movies are entertaining, I think it's perfectly fine. For someone like me, I think it's fun, it's fine. There's a part of me that enjoys being scared.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun.
For someone who may be lower functioning or have a way of being that is unhealthy, destructive, or dangerous, it could become dangerous in the sense that they might be looking for ideas. So that feels a little different. I do have those feelings, like every now and again, we're giving dangerous people ideas.
Like the new show, The Purge. Have you seen that?
The show? No, I haven't seen it. I've seen the movie.
The TV show is really good. But I was like, man, it's like, we have all this chaos in the world and y'all just gonna put it, the movies were enough, but we got a whole series.
And is it the same premise of?
Yeah.
And that's right, because it sets up how we get to this holiday. So anyone who hasn't seen The Purge, the premise of the movie, and then we can explain the TV show, is we're in a society that believes that, that has set up a system of governance where you do not commit crimes for, the bulk of the year, but then you have a 24-hour period where you can commit any crime. Which is incredibly scary, especially in this day and age. The idea of and then you learn throughout the movie that there are people who are rich and powerful that are kind of supporting this.
Yeah.
And they really tend to target the poor, the vulnerable.
Yeah.
People who can't protect themselves.
Yeah.
Which would include us.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we could.
Yeah.
Like I have a home, but
right.
I don't have any kind of metal anything fortifying it.
So with people with mental illness, is that genetic or people born with that, or is just the circumstances that they're in?
It's shifted over time. So the way we think about it has shifted over time, and at this current stage, we are comfortable in discussing both. Now there is a body of science called epigenetics that talks a lot about disease and what's being passed down from one generation to the next, and we do know that things like breast cancer. There are certain cancers and diseases that are hormone dominant, and we can begin to see how it expresses itself in families. By and large, the work that I do is a result of people who have been taught a way of seeing the world and seeing themselves that is not healthful for them in being the person that they want to be in this day and age. So my practice would be filled with people who where it's been more things that they've been taught and filled with.
Right.
For sure.
Why do you think like people are so afraid to talk to a therapist?
We live in a culture.
Yeah. Especially our culture.
Especially in the Black community, where we are not, so going back to being taught, we just don't have a paradigm in our minds for dealing with this kind of issue. We have the church, and even that's changed right over the past 50, 60 years. We don't have, oh gosh, it's such a full question. There's so many different angles I want to
get it out.
Let me see if I can get it out. Let me see if I can get it out without fumbling on myself.
Right. Get it out.
I don't think it feels safe. I don't think that we have, and not just Black community, I think in general, we don't have, we don't always have, all right, give me just a minute. You may have to edit this part out.
Go ahead.
I'm sifting through it in my head. So I don't think it doesn't feel safe. We're not especially taught that taking care of ourselves is important. And by that I mean, throughout the years, we know, every year if I'm in school, I'm gonna go get my physical, or every, 6 months I have to go to get my teeth checked with the dentist. But there's not really anything in place for our mental health and wellness. So it's not a part of our being. It's something that we're taught if we're fortunate.
You think that would be forced though? Like people are acting a fool on these jobs.
We're going to see, I hope in my soul, and I think it's happening, that we're going to see some serious changes fairly soon. I'm very hopeful. I talked about this with Spencer years ago, especially after the Sandy Hook shooting.
Very sad.
So it's slow coming, but I think it is coming.
Companies should put that in place. Like
correct.
You need to see it there. Like have at least 3 sessions a year.
So most companies will have something called an EAP, an Employee Assistance Program, and this is a contracted group of therapists, social workers that can offer short-term solution-focused therapy, and they offer an array of other services. Helping to find a house, or elder care, or pet care, all kinds of different things. We used to have, at the organization that I work, the oncology program that I work with now, a therapist that was solely dedicated to the health and wellness of the employees. And I hope to see more of that. So most companies will have something.
Right.
But I want to get at your question, I think another piece is shame. I think shame is woven into the fiber of our being. And we do a good job of sprinkling it in every area of our lives. We raise our children with shame. We shower ourselves with messages of shame. You can sit with someone looking at them thinking this person is awesome, they're fabulous, they're put together, and in their head we have no idea the world of voices that are going through communicating different things about them, which is unfortunate. One of the books that I have right here with me also is by Dr. Brene Brown, The Gifts of Imperfection. This is not her latest book, but it's one of the ones I was thinking about, like how I package my work with people. But she is a shame researcher. She studies shame and vulnerability. And I think it's a big part. It's a big part of who we are.
Yeah. Back to that relationship part. I know you said that we attract the same person. Is that like background for what we're used to? Like while growing up, we attract what we were used to while.
100%. 100%.
Because I never understand that part. Like, why would you go back to a person that
I know
beat you up or talk down on you, that just treat you horrible, and you keep going back?
And I want to think of it as still in terms of a spectrum as well. So there are people that are higher functioning, that are overall healthy, that could make decisions that harm them based on some of the things that they have gone through.
Yeah.
And then there are people that we might have to edit that part out too. I'm trying to think. I want to back into it safely, but
yeah, that's fine.
Where it's a big. Let me back out and try to come through a different door.
Okay.
The simple answer is yes. So much of what we're taught and what we've experienced plays out in the people that we choose. So if we grew up feeling unwanted, or were neglected, we may choose a partner that is distant, that's cold, that's unkind.
Oh God,
Is it? And the sad part about it is not the sad part.
I choose that every time.
But the interesting part about it is it's not even always conscious. Like if we had our thoughts about ourselves, like say we had loving parents, loving teachers, but we felt isolated by kids at school. We might begin to tell ourselves, something's wrong with me. I'm fat, I'm ugly. So we might be inclined to connect with someone who isn't even our ideal, but because they show us attention, because they're willing to be there, that's enough of a requirement. And
so we attract what we're lacking.
Yes,
basically.
And we attract what we think we're worth.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And I speak from experience as well. It has been a journey. It's so funny. I have these 3 books here. Yeah. And I remember as a young adult, fresh somewhere in my last year of undergraduate studies, I was like, I have to get married. I want to get married. I found the one. I want to get married. And I thank the Lord that did not happen. All kinds of craziness afterwards. But throughout my 20s, I found myself in a similar cycle. And one of the things I love about Georgia Schaefer's work, some of it in this book, but then there's another one, How Not to Date a Loser, where she takes you through an exercise where you begin to map out on a grid some of the things that you're attracted to, some of the things that are revealed about people, and you begin just for this purpose of looking for the patterns. What are the patterns? And then you begin to work through and do your own work. I remember.
That's true.
It's fascinating. Yeah. I remember. I want to say more about that story right now. I think that's it for now. But I can remember Aunt Johnny. Shout out to Aunt Johnny. Shout out to Aunt Johnny, Uncle Dewey, Cousin Christy, Cousin Allison, Zoe, Jeremiah. Everybody's
He's naming everybody. Yes. Why just dang? He was crazy. Yes. He was so weird sometimes.
Can't leave anybody out. I remember the day they came on to visit during one of the trips, and this was in April of 2004.
Oh wow!
And she was reading a book called Gift Wrapped by God, by Linda Dillow and Lorraine Pentis. And I'm like, well, that's a cool cover. It's a fun title. Let me check this out. I maybe got through about 2 pages, found myself incredibly triggered. I'm crying. I put the book down. I could not pick it up for another 4 years. And then I started reading it again. I got through it finally all the way about a year before I met my husband.
Okay.
And because it gets at the core of how we look at how we value ourselves and this idea of worthiness.
Yeah.
Like we trudge through life day by day with these heavy burdens
that we don't need to deal with.
Yeah. And that nobody else would know about. Like when we were talking earlier about suicide.
Yeah.
Were we talking about suicide? Or
yeah.
You know, it amazes me how we get so good at wearing the mask. We're talking about the Halloween, the mask.
Yeah.
About wearing the mask, and there's a depth and an ocean of things that we're dealing with that people know nothing about.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going after that, but that's I just want to share that piece of it.
Yeah, because I know I wore a lot of masks.
Yes.
Regarding my sexuality and all that stuff, and it was like a big burden off my shoulders. I was like, you know, I can finally be me. You know, it was hard, you know, to portray something that you're not. You know, it makes you uncomfortable, but you gotta make your people comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole lot to unfold that, and you know, recently. I cut off this one person I was dealing with because I knew in my heart it wasn't healthy for me. You know, it's just not. I'm not gonna deal with stuff I don't need to or have to.
Go ahead, Tim.
Go ahead.
So yes.
It's hard, but it is. You know,
it is.
It's hard, like dealing with somebody that you really care about. But if you know in your heart it's not healthy for you, then you have to let that go.
That's right.
So. You have to take off the Band-Aid.
And what level of courage? The idea of this is something that's familiar, it's comfortable, but I know this is not right for me. And because I know that, what do I do with you? I can't continue. Yeah. Especially if the caliber I'm trying to go to, I can't have somebody, you know. Go ahead.
Caliber.
What? Caliber, that's right.
Look, I talk
preach today, guys. I tell you that I didn't come here to shout.
Yeah, you know, you can't have nobody doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like the level you're trying to go, and somebody weighing you down. You'll never fulfill your dream if you have people like that around you. You know, because you can't grow. How you expect to grow if somebody is tugging on you every 5 minutes? You know what I'm saying? So. I knew in my heart, I was like, well, I have to let this go because I know where I want to go, the stars I'm reaching for. I can't have you there. So
I think there's something about this idea of being with people that can keep pace with us.
Yeah.
It's like I am moving through the world in this way.
Yeah.
How are you moving? Can we move together?
Yeah.
And don't you find? Tell me what you think too. And this is again part of the relationship thing. I think that might be the bigger. You know, you think about it. I remember listening to Dr. Joseph White. Before he passed, talk about how, 60 years ago, the church, especially in the Black community, was the core of all of our being. And we all kind of lived around the church, but the church would create a space where we could get to know other people in a safe way. And as people have, commuted and we've begun to branch out and build other community villages outside of the church, I wonder if we have somehow recaptured that. I don't know that we have. So certainly we have all these e-dating forums, but what I love seeing is a return to venues like this, the poetry sets, the opportunities for professionals to get together, for people of like mind, of like spirit, moving in similar ways in the world to get together and be able to build from that community. And that's how I met my husband. Through a mutual friend. We were part of a venue where it was professionals, singles, getting together, talking about our experience. It was fun. And it was a way to network in a way that felt safe.
Yeah, we need that here.
Yes.
We definitely do need that here.
Super fun.
Yeah, that's dope.
And what do you think, so what do people do nowadays? Like, because I know there's a lot of like dating apps and websites and
killers are on there.
Trying to live. Trying to live.
I just meet like random people. For me, I just meet like random people if I'm hanging out or something like that, or at work.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually at work most of my time. So
there's something about just meeting in person and and connecting. Yeah.
But I don't know how everybody else meet.
I
don't shoot no DMs either, so I don't do that either. That's kind of weird.
I truly,
but courage to you.
Right. Oh, help us.
So you as a parent, how do you view, through your eyes, how do you view mental health through your child's eyes?
Yes.
How do you get her mentally healthy?
So I have a very active 3.5-year-old.
Yes. She's not gonna roll
Elizabeth
over.
Grace. There was an incident with Tiff when Liz was about 1 year old. I'll go ahead and just tell it. Do we have time? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
I'll make it quick. Where we were in the apartment, Tiff brought over some food. My child, and we're people who eat.
Right.
We eat.
Yeah.
And she brought up some food. My child, who was barely walking at the time, maybe she crawled. Was she crawling or walking? Was she walking?
Don't try to
made it on the tip. And she slowly begins to reach up. So I'm just sitting there as the parents. I'm like, I see this happening. I'm waiting for Tiff to get her food or something. Like, I see it happening.
You saw me struggling.
Tiff sits back.
No, you saw me.
Hits the food, knocks over the whole thing, and I'm just sitting there. There's rice now and chicken all over the floor. And I'm trying to understand how this happened. I'm like, it was in slow motion. What happened? I don't understand. Let the child take your food.
Right. I was like,
we didn't replace Tip's food.
Right, it's all right.
That day, we did replace it.
Yeah.
I saw it happen. I'm like, is she about to get the food?
I thought I had time, I guess. She moved faster than me. But go ahead. For that child.
All right, so I would say, so my approach to parenting Elizabeth started even long before I became pregnant. And then that's a journey in and of itself. We'll save that for another show, just the journey of getting pregnant. But very much, again, going back to my mind-body roots, I was very focused on, playing music, guided imagery, and then even now I'm an attachment parent, which means that I'm very connected to her. I want to make sure that she knows I'm here. I want to be a very physical presence. So we do lots of hugs, affirmations. That's incredibly important to me. I try to give her the freedom to explore the world in a way that feels right for her, and that's very different from how we were raised. You think back to the early 80s, attachment parenting was a thing. But by and large, I think, especially in our community, it was, you're going to do what we tell you to do.
Right.
And it's a very, specific kind of discipline and punishment. So I'm in a very protective stage for her right now, even though I want to encourage her to explore the world and to make relationships and to make mistakes, and that's okay. I do find that I'm very perceptive of the world in a very different way. So I watch people and I want to make sure she's okay. It was so funny, and it was important to me. So I'll say it in this way. It's important to me that she values herself by way of watching how I model the way I value myself. So when I knew I wanted to have that we wanted to have a child, I went natural. I, did the big chop, cut my hair off because I wanted her to see me loving my natural texture. And I haven't looked back. I loved it. So I've been natural now.
I'm natural.
It's been several years.
Almost 2 years.
Is it cool? I know. It has its challenging moments, right? Because it's new, it's different. We weren't raised to embrace, and that's another part of it. So you brought me back full circle. I'll come back to this. You brought me back full circle.
Right, go ahead.
About how we view ourselves. We can have loving people around us, but if we're not taught to love our hair, to love our skin, right? Especially in our community, we still make comments about light skin, dark skin. It impacts the way you think about yourselves, even if it's cloaked in a joke. It really impacts how we feel about ourselves,
right?
And how we perceive the world to experience us. So I'm sensitive to that with her. and she's at an age 3.5 where she's beginning to notice that she's different.
Yeah.
From other, all the kids in her class are different. They're all different.
Yeah.
She's also tall, like I was tall, so she's noticing that she's different.
Yeah.
And I'm sensitive to how she understands that. So certainly the hair, the skin, and I think we can probably do a bit more with it. What I was super excited about, and I will shamelessly say that I did take her to McDonald's to get a Happy Meal.
Aww.
There was a toy that is an African American firefighter, a woman.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Mickey
Yes,
D.
come on, McDonald's, you better come through today.
Yeah.
And my father's in the car. He's a retired fireman. And he said, how cool that they had a doll of color.
Yeah.
And my daughter heard that, and she says, yeah, she's wearing the color red. She's, yeah, look at her red. And I was like, because in her mind, when we talk about people of color, she doesn't have a point of reference for that.
Right.
So there's a lot to be said. So I'm sensitive as a parent.
Yeah. Well, that's good. She don't see. I don't think somebody that little should have that conversation just yet.
Right.
Just yet. You know what I mean? Like,
hearing terms.
let them
yes.
be free, have imaginations first before you have them hard conversations. I mean, the conversation will be had. But
but she does have the books.
Time. Yeah.
She does have the books where we have little girls with the hair. She has lots of dolls with hair like hers.
Yeah.
I just want her to have that because that's so important. I know.
Yeah. Childhood is important.
We have struggled with that. I have personally struggled with the idea of feeling worthy enough, feeling beautiful. And so we'll see. We'll see for sure. I
definitely do. She'll be good.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love you home over there.
I do.
And plus she a
online.
G, so she
plays no games.
Right.
She plays no games.
We argue time to
tough girl.
Yeah, she is.
And I hope not to take that from her. I want to channel that a little bit.
Yeah. She will.
Yes.
She will. But she ain't gonna be no punk about it.
Yes. and I want her to have a good relationship with her body. I think that's something also, especially as Black women, that we
speak on that.
Yeah, we need to do. We just need to do better for ourselves, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel the growing movement. You see women in drones going out to Zumba, walking at the gym.
Yeah.
We're doing 5Ks. I just signed up for something about women of color, doing like a walkathon. We're moving in that direction, and that feels so good because it's felt like for the longest we've been made to be ashamed. And when I try to explain this to people, and especially men, even Black men,
they don't get it.
They don't get it. Like they'll say, but you're beautiful. I'm like, but you have to realize we grew up in an era where all the music videos point to a very specific kind of woman. All the TV shows, many of the movies, the lighter complexion, the longer hair, sometimes straighter, but definitely like the longer, the hanging hair, maybe different color eyes. And it's looked different over the years, but it's the same paradigm. And it's incredibly frustrating when you don't see yourself as best. So the message is, even though you're telling me I'm beautiful, the cultural message I'm receiving is you're less than.
Right.
She's beautiful. You're okay. You can be smart. You're smart. You're nice.
Yeah.
She's beautiful. And that makes such a difference.
Yeah.
So I want her to have a positive relationship with her body.
And I see that changing in Hollywood. Like,
what do you see changing?
People of color. I mean, you don't see many like lead roles that's light skinned anymore. That much. It's brown skin now. So
finally. Gosh. Or let's say this: lead roles of people of color in different shades of beautiful melanin that are desirable. Desirable. We're not just the background. We're not the parsley on the plate. We're actually the main dish.
Right. So what is your goal for being a therapist? What is your end goal for it?
I want to go on record in saying that I want to help change the world. I believe that we all have a gift, many gifts. We're multi-creatives, we're multi-talented, and we need one another to make the level of impact that will turn this world inside out, and I want to be a part of that. So whether it's the one-on-one therapy, which is my heart, I love doing outreach, teaching. I love to play. So I do have training in laughter therapy, qigong. Those are all things that I'm passionate about. I think that's my impact, doing things like this, people like you, building networks all over. I think there's so much work to be done. And the laborers are few. So that's ultimately where I want to go. And I'm not sure, I think there's more in there. The pieces are still coming together. Still coming together, so.
And I know you mentioned the suicide rate earlier. Do you feel people that commit suicide, they're considered weak?
Oh gosh, no. I think,
or, you know, having like courage to do that? Because I think that's kind of scary anyway. Like,
I was
to just off yourself
like
that.
completely agree. There's a certain level.
Or is it? I don't know. I can't really.
I think it takes courage to take your own life, to take your own life, to end your life. And so there's several. I want to step into this one.
Pause for a second.
Yes, please. Yes, take your time.
I just want to make sure. Yeah, we good.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we're still recording.
Yes.
Okay.
So September was Suicide Awareness Month, and one of the things I do love about social media is you saw a lot of articles floating through and research and data, and that feels really good, and a lot of self-help and self-care numbers and resources. That's terrific.
Right.
It's still an epidemic. It's a concern. People who are so I now say too, and you know, I love the term spectrum, because I think things, especially as human beings, we're not you know, black and white, no pun intended, at all. And there's so many parts of ourselves, and I would imagine that so many of us have had experiences or stages in our lives where things have been very dark, very difficult, or very chaotic and confusing. And we may have been overcome with feelings of hopelessness. It's not weak at all to be suicidal. I was impressed though that that there is help, and you do not have to suffer alone. I'm trying to think through.
Because how do people reach out and get help? Because that's the problem. They don't know how to. Some people don't know how to reach out for help.
Right.
You know?
Who to get a hold to. Pending where you are, and there are numbers. I wonder if we can.
There's suicide total numbers too.
And I don't know if you want to share a number, but feel free to start out if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. You're so good.
You want to try to connect with first, and especially if you're in distress. Always, it's certainly 911 if you're in an emergency. But if there's anyone that you trust, if there's a hospital, hospitals will have access to lots of different resources, social workers, support. There are lots of not-for-profit organizations, or people like me. We are waiting to hear from you. We're looking for you, and we can help. We can help. And you know, it's so interesting. That question is tricky in my head because I'm trying to think. You know, it's one thing, we're sitting in Waukegan.
Really easy answer.
It's not an easy answer, especially depending where you're from. And there are people that are going to see this and say, you know, I don't have anybody that I trust that I would go to. If you're watching this and this is you, reach out to one of us, even in this message.
If there is one thing that you can change in your line of work, what would it be? Ask everybody this question, whatever it is.
Change like in the
like in your field,
in my own personal, in the field,
in your field, or
just
your personal.
I wish that I would have. So when I was in school, I had the mindset of you have to pick one thing. I wish I would have taken the time to think about how I could use all of my gifts and create something truly powerful and magical back then. Even though there's value to how I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been ready then, but there's a part of me that wished I would have nurtured some of the gifts that I had back then. So
yeah, me too.
All the athletic gifts, the musical talents, a part of my soul shifted when I stopped doing theater. And I can the message coming from the Lord to me right now is restoration. We're bringing all of this back. All of this will be part of this movement and how you will support people and take care of people and love people. So that would be the change specifically for me. In my field, I wish, especially in the latter 19th century, that we would have gotten to a place of attachment and kindness and human. So the words that are coming to my mind are like kindness, integrity, humanity. I wish we would have gotten to a place that felt heart-centered earlier.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a profession that has a strong clinical history. But we've also had our rough and dark patches as well. I mean, there was a time when science might have suggested that African Americans weren't fully human, or that we might have had practices that were harmful to people. So those things are difficult to hear. I wish we could have gotten, the Brene Browns decades ago, talking about shame and healing. But I do think that there is a natural course to how we evolve, and can we get to this place today without the suffering and the pain that we've gone through? That's the question. So,
do you think like social media has put pressure on mental health?
Oh my gosh, social media.
You think it has helped? Has made people?
I struggle with this one. There are incredible benefits to social media. It is so amazing to connect with people worlds away that I wouldn't be able to connect with in the same way with such ease of access. Also, I love that we can connect with resources, programs, stores, organizations that we may not have known about. I don't know how many different organizations I've liked. I tend to get on a roll too. I'm one of those people, I like to hit the like button. And then they give you the suggestions of other things that are similar, and I'm like, yep, I'll just like it all. Just keep on going. I got time. Keep on going.
That's what I mean.
We got plenty of time.
Act a while.
At the same time, I think it has been incredibly damaging to how we think about ourselves. There is a part of us that naturally tends to compare, and in our struggle and fight, our daily fight with shame, I think it gives such a false impression of reality. I'm gonna take this picture. There's no reference or context around how I'm actually feeling or doing, but here's this picture. Or I have to stage this this photo because I want people to think or feel something. That feels unhealthy. It feels fake. And it feels like it's moving us away from what we're trying to build. So shout out to all the mothers whose homes are messy, who follow Marie Kondo. I love Marie Kondo. I will get my house decluttered one day. People who are imperfect and they're precious and beautiful in that.
See?
Speaking from experience.
So, before we close, these are 3 principles I live by. Laugh, love, and learn. Who makes you laugh the most? Like, who's the most hilarious person?
Oh, of course, family. Spencer. Spencer makes me laugh. His dry humor does it. He does it to me.
He does. Who do you learn from?
I love these 3 principles. Get it.
Right. So wrong with you.
Who do I learn from? Oh my gosh, I learn from everybody. I want to give this one to Elizabeth. She exposes things in me that I've done a great job at hiding from the world. and she gives me the courage to dive into it wholeheartedly.
Okay, so who do you love?
Oh, love.
Yeah.
Oh, love is a third one.
Yeah. What do you love the most?
I'm gonna go with me on this one. I'm gonna go with me.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to love me, and from that, I hope to pour all of me into the world.
That's pretty good.
What about you? What are your 3 principles?
That's it.
Oh, I just said those for yourself.
Yeah, that's for me. Well, who makes me laugh? Me. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and just put me out there because I crack myself up, man. And I keep my family going. So
and this is real. This is real. I get nervous every now and again, like when we go to church. Don't let it be like a funeral or something, because you just don't want to be that awkward group of people laughing in the midst of something very tragic.
Right.
We've had some experiences.
We have. Who did I learn from? My mistakes. Learn from myself. Learning every day about myself.
Yes.
And loving myself too.
I love it.
I love it. Just learning how to love myself. Because that's not really taught.
That's right.
So I had to teach that.
And we're changing that.
Yeah, we're changing
that.
Yeah,
yes.
we're the generation to change that.
Wow.
This is a powerful episode today.
Super cool.
I had one thing to ask you. What advice do you give people that's afraid to talk to a therapist or make that first step? What should they do?
I would say I want you to hold in your mind that you are worth investing in yourself to have a relationship that is uniquely and solely focused on your development. So you're worthy of that. You deserve that. And I understand, that's the second part, is I understand, because as Tip just said, we're not taught to and the idea of therapy is so new to us. So, I mean, we go back to Shay. I don't want to take us back into it. Go ahead. But we're taught to hold things in. Yeah. We're not especially taught to express ourselves or to share things that are described as secrets, which are incredibly dangerous. Yeah. And the idea that keeping imperfection in mind, there's not a whole lot that's not worthy of a try. Yeah. That you can try. You don't have to say, and here's the thing too, I think there's a thought in people's mind that, therapy means I have to sit with someone every week for the rest of my life. Therapy is what you want it to be. Well, I know certainly in my practice, it's what you want it to be. Yeah. And you shouldn't have that kind of pressure. The idea is to build with someone that you have a connection with. Yeah. That has some level of knowledge and training, a certain level of knowledge and training. Just don't go to anybody. Yeah. That where you feel safe enough to begin to build the kind of life that you want for yourself.
Absolutely. Corliss, I appreciate you coming through, talking with me.
Thank you. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, I'm definitely bringing you back.
So much more.
Yeah, we have to do like a session or something. I'm gonna have to do something with this. I think it's very important. Good. Because people are our youth is really losing it today. Yes. They don't have an outlet, and I need to do something. I don't know what that is yet. I'm figuring it out, but I'm definitely gonna have to do something with you. And especially to the young lady Ashley. She had an amazing event this past Monday, which is really incredible. So,
and what was the event?
It was regarding mental health. We had to do like a mental health test, a stress test or whatever. And mine was really high, so I was like, oh my God. A lot
of ours are gonna be high. Yeah. For the things that we're dealing with. Yeah. And I would say to the fellow therapists and practitioners out there, let's connect. Yeah. We need to build a network. Yeah. And be able to refer to one another and to know what we're doing, what's out here in the world, so we can help take care of people together. Yeah. We don't have to go at it alone. I think that's one of the biggest messages that we need to have in our own mind. We don't have to go at it alone. Right. So super cool.
Yeah. If anybody has any ideas how we should do this, but I definitely want to do something regarding mental health, because I think that's very, very important.
Yes.
A lot of our kids have a lot to say. they're getting talked to, but nobody's listening to them. So
yes,
yeah. So I hope everybody have a good week, and